We have two amazing women doing great stuff in business on the show this morning. We spotlight women in business every Monday because it's our thing, right? So joining us in the studio this morning is Soromidayo Ayo, who's the CEO of Soromidayo Enterprise. She's into fish farming, fisheries generally, the whole value chain. And right next to her is Rebecca Archibong, CEO Bekateng Fashion. I can tell from that it's about fashion. And Rebecca, and both of you, welcome to the Morning Brief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
I was joking earlier on that fashion meets fishery. Fishery meets fashion, two Fs. Starters, and I'll start with Rebecca. The look. I need to get it out of the way.
It's giving.
It's giving, right? As I say. Yes. What inspired the look, and how much work went into this? You know, for men, just throw your jacket, throw your tie, and you're out. But how much work time went into the look?
Okay. First, what inspired the look first is the fact that I'm a Nigerian and I need to represent where I come from, being an African woman. The fabric here is Akwete, it's of the Igbo heritage. So it's almost like the Ashoke, but there's a difference. It's also woven. So I thought that making the Ashoke, the Akwete pants would give me that edge as a Nigerian fashion designer to have that. And then I just topped it up with the silk top. And then my hair.
Exactly.
My hair. My hair just says that, I mean, I'm here. I'm a Nigerian. I'm African.
You have to turn your head and look at me.
Yes, you have to, obviously. And so the process of going through this is amazing, honestly, because you visualize. I visualize what I want, how I want to look, and that helps me, you know, put into it. I do the illustration. After the illustration, okay, what fabric do I think goes well with this? What fabric would give me the exact thing I want, that look I want? And then after that, you go to the pattern drafting. After drafting, you cut and you do the sewing and then the finishing. But this is just for this. But it's also for a couture kind of outfit. That's a wedding dress. It entails a lot. It's a long process. Yeah. When it comes to that.
We see some of your designs on the screen. Amazing.
Yes.
Again, women are just amazing.
Yes, yeah.
You know, it's like art with women.
Like an effect kind of.
I mean, look at that.
Oh yeah, this is GDK.
Yeah, the one before that, I had that royal feel, you know, the woman with the, and so you were saying that looked epic.
Yes, because I'm epic. I'm from Cross River State.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And we'll come to explore some of your work further, but let's talk to Soromidayo. You are in a very interesting space. You know, we can't do without food in some sense, but it's a space that has also been quite volatile. Right, the agricultural space has come under a lot of hit. So speak to us first about what it takes to be in the fisheries industry, but what it also takes to be a woman in that sector.
Thank you very much. So what it takes to be in the fish industry, it needs your commitment, your availability, then you need knowledge. You can gather knowledge from institutions that, you know, provide solutions around agricultural, you know, technical know-how. So coming into agriculture as a woman, it wasn't easy. Before we got here, we were talking at the reception with Madam Akibo. I told her that I used to be a fashion designer, and I did it for 8 years. I graduated 2010, served 2011, and I ran fashion business for 8 years. But personally, I had to leave. I left pre-COVID, and luckily I started fish farming, not knowing how I was going to sell. You know, people were like, are you sure you want to do this? Yes, I bought 1,000 juveniles, and luckily I read them. I had maybe 5-7% mortality. COVID came. How are you going to sell? I live in an estate. As at then, I was in Lagos, because right now our fish farm plaza is in Ogun State. So luckily for us, we had to bring out our fishes because we saw people moving around the estate looking for places to hang out. And in 1 week, we were sold out as barbecue, pepper soup, smoked catfish. And that was how I knew that food business is a great business, that people really would not do, you know, there's no how they would do without eating. Food is life. So that was how I started the business. And after COVID, I had to look for a space on the roadside. You know, that was how I started putting a brand around it, doing the barbecue, going for outdoor services. And, you know, luckily again, people usually ask me that they love to do fish farming, but they don't know how, they don't have the expertise, they don't have the space, the time. And luckily for us again, we had to get a space. We got a space on the roadside, and that was how the Fish Plaza started.
Wow, amazing. You're telling us about success story. So let's talk about the work. I'm going to come to you in just a moment because there's a lot of questions as well. So the work involved, that's why we started by saying it's not for the faint-hearted. When we see, you say fertility rate or mortality rate is about 7%, and you do your ROI rate on return on investment, it looks very beautiful and big grammar. But what goes into rearing fish? And just give us maybe an example of what you did.
Okay, so for you to start fish farming, you need to get your seedlings right, because that's the foundation. If you miss it, your fishes, as in you won't like it.
What seedling?
The seedlings,
What
that's the
does that mean?
juveniles, the fingerlings, or the jumbo. These are baby fishes
So
that you need to buy.
seedlings.
Yes, they are fish seedlings. Just the way you want to plant your mango, you need the seed, you know, in the ground. So you need the seedlings. You can buy them. You can hatch them yourself. That's another market opportunity around fish farming for fish breeders. So, but it's a very, very technical aspect. If you are very new, it's better to get it from a fish breeder. So you get the seedlings. After the seedlings, fish farming is not as tedious as other form of agricultural businesses.
Really?
Because yes, it is not time consuming, especially when you are not doing it on a large scale. All you need is a tank. You can even get a bowl and start with 50 to 100 pieces. But the thing now is that you just need to give them food morning and evening, so you can still go to work. When I was doing it, I was doing other things around it. But immediately you start scaling, then you need to be available. You need to be available, because even when we had to move our farm due to relocation in Ogun State, we had to pack out and get a house around Ogun State. So we are very close to our fish farm to monitor, to supervise, so that we can have maximum productivity at harvest.
I see that you have nets over the pond. Why is that?
Yeah, it prevents predators, human predators and animal predators. You have snakes crawling into the nets if they are not closely tied. So you have them, you know, they love fishes, they feed on it. We also have the birds.
Snakes?
Yes,
Yeah.
the birds and some wild animals, they love to feed on fishes.
And the apex is the human being.
Yes, the human being. So, but immediately you have this net, it will guard against theft. And another thing is you illuminating your farm. So we've worked on having solar street lights on our farms, aside the solar cameras that we also have, so that even at night, immediately we have somebody intruding. Everywhere is illuminated, and it can capture whoever is not supposed to be there.
Let's go to Rebecca, the fashion woman. Let's talk about that market and whether it's saturated or there's a lot more with it. We know the big names, you know. Maybe help us separate with it, because I know there was an argument one time between a tailor and a fashion designer. What actually is the difference between both, for those who don't know what it is? And how you are working on navigating a part that you have a lot of big names already that are easily recognizable within that space for you as a brand.
Okay, first, for the marketing part of it, we know that social media is #1. And so we do our best to make sure that our pieces go out there on social media. The likes of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We make sure that our work is showcased on those platforms. And then the other way too we are able to get to that point is word of referral, mouth to mouth. We have clients we've had for over as long as we started who refer people to us, who refer clients to us. And so the big market out there for the big designers, they are big designers, but then I think that for me, I have my own hitch. I know that, okay, I want, this is what I want. I don't have to do what everybody is doing, every designer is doing. Because if you go out, the market is saturated, like you said. Everybody is doing the same thing, basically. And so I have carved myself out, making things that are, over time are timeless, pieces that are timeless, and not everybody goes for that. Everybody wants to wear all the blinks, all that is in vogue. But we try to work according to body type, specifications, and all of that. So it gives us an edge over the other designers who are upcoming, and then we look up to the bigger designers who we think we can, get inspiration from.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we do.
How long have you been in fashion?
Okay, so I have been in fashion I would say that in 2011 was when I learned, but I wasn't satisfied. I didn't get that satisfaction I wanted. I wanted more. And so in 2013, I went to the Yaba College of Technology to study fashion, which I finished in, 2019. And I would say that was when the brand started. So
really
we've been in fashion for 7 years, thereabouts.
Wait, 2013?
Yes, I studied for 5 years.
Ah, I see.
Oh, yes.
No, we can add 2013. We can add it. We can add 12 years. Why I asked is, she was in fashion for 8 years.
Yeah.
And she jumped back to Fisheries, where she's doing great now. I don't know, what your biggest reason was what for leaving? I
didn't get fulfillment around it, personally.
There wasn't fulfillment?
Personally.
So how are you able to, because a lot of people do it, again, some people do it because it's a money maker. Some do it because it's in trend. Some do it because it's what's available to them. But some do it because it's either fashion or I die. So for people who may want to find their true calling, because it will look like you found your true calling. I mean, look at how you're thriving.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know if you will jack by something bigger, but how do you figure out, okay, is this my calling, and then get fulfillment? Because a lot of people are out there thinking, is it fashion or not? But let me just keep doing it.
Okay, so for me, I would say it's a passion. Reason being that growing up as a child, I always wanted to look different from what everybody in the room looked like. I wanted to be myself, that's Rebecca, before becoming Becca Tech, before I found out I needed to do fashion. And so that was what propelled me to go into fashion. And so I would say that I have the passion, the love. It's not just, but I have the love for it, because fashion is very tedious. It's so tedious that it takes all of you. Everything about I look this beautiful, but when you see me in the factory, you would not recognize me. To be very honest, I'm somebody else.
Yeah.
So, but it's the passion, the love for it. There are days I'm like, I'm not doing this thing, I'm tired. But then, at that moment, I don't know, somehow somebody will call, you're doing so well. We are proud of you, and that gives me courage to, keep doing it. And so I would say it's a passion. So I would, anybody, if you're doing anything, like she said, she found her place. You have to find that thing you love to do, otherwise you fall out of it. Because we've had fashion designers who couldn't stand the test of time.
This is my vulnerable moment right here. I don't think I've told anybody, but I learned fashion. I learned tailoring at some point. For the first 2 weeks, guys, my tutor made me tack buttons. For 2 weeks, I was tacking buttons.
So you're a fashion school dropout.
You can call it that. So when I see both of you, I'm like, this is no joke. I was tacking buttons, Jeffrey, for 2 weeks, every day.
That's the work that is put into designing, illustration, and the sewing. Is it commensurate with the amount you're being paid when the piece is finally out?
Okay.
How do you do pricing?
How do I do my pricing? I do my costing, my time. I talk about the production, the fabric sourcing, all of the things I need.
In the face of competition, put that at the back of your mind.
Yes, in the face of competition. I would say that because I would say that I have paid my bills. I have done that. I have made clothes for people, because I'm trying to get to that point where I can say that, okay, I can collect this amount of money.
Right.
Yeah. So I would say that I'm at that place where I can call a price and I should be paid for, because my service is top notch.
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
So I don't think anybody argues for the price of fish.
No.
Because you know the price, and it depends on the size. But as we wind down on this conversation, I'd like you to speak to the opportunities in that sector as well. I think what you're doing is really great. You have a plaza. That's what you call it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like an estate of... So what are the opportunities, and should I go into... Because I know people who have gone into it and came back crying. So what are the opportunities, and should you go into it or not?
Okay, so the opportunities around what we do is that people earn passive income. So without lifting a muscle, their money works for them. And the business has been able to stand the test of time. Like I said, we were in Agege originally, or the least facility, but agricultural land around policies around agricultural land did not favor us. So lands were sold to realtors, it became an estate, and we had to move, even after spending so much. That was how we became an Ogun State resident. And even coming down here is been a blessing, because we now have a lot of land to be able to work, to rear more fishes. We were doing like around maybe 120,000 fishes there. Right now we have 20 ponds, and we are still digging more.
How many thousand fish do you have now?
In a pond, we have 4,000 to 5,000 fishes.
And you have 20 now?
So, yeah, so that's like 200,000 fishes. So we do that in a quarter. 3 months, we sell off to, we have the ready off-takers, the malam, they are the one that buys more. Yeah. Even though there are challenges around it, sorry, I didn't mention it the other time, we have fishmongers. And these people have been able to wreck a lot of farmers. If you are not careful...
As in like bandits.
If you're not careful, they add magnet to your scale. It will reduce the fish weight. Like you said, there's a price, so you can't negotiate. But this price, these fishes, they will lose weight at the end of the day. What you're supposed to sell for 50 kg, maybe weighing 250,000, you'll be selling 120. At the end of the day, you cannot restock.
So, I promise you that this is not the end of this conversation. In fact, we're coming to your space because there's a lot of opportunities here, and we have to thank you for championing that in collaboration with others. We'll be speaking with Sorbidayo Ayo, CEO, Sorbidayo Enterprise, and Rebecca Archibong, CEO, Bekateng Fashion. So, fashion meets fashion and fish eventually. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's nice.
Absolutely. Thank you, ladies. And we'll switch gears now. So we'll head back to London this time as we bring in an author in our morning chapter segment, where we highlight some of the things that people are doing writing. A book right now is causing a lot of controversy in Nigeria, but let's take a look at this one in just a moment.